Hi, YouTubers. Most of the information I have found online about the Ford Fusion Energy revolves around people who use it as their daily driver to get to and from work. And they're driving approximately, 10 miles to work, 10 miles home. So they're using it on a charge and driving to work and from work. So they kind of do use the car what it's designed for, which is short-term commutes, which gets you maximum fuel efficiency on a battery charge. I bought my Ford Fusion in 2014. I bought a 2014 Ford Fusion Energi SE, black with all black leather interior, and I've been able to experience some things that most haven't. I actually am a medical courier by trade, so what I do is I drive approximately 200 miles per day on my Ford Fusion Energy. So I wanted to get you some insight as far as long-term use, high mileage, what these cars will do, and uh, what the whole package is. Now, I said I bought a 2014 Ford Fusion Energy, and I've had a couple experiences with it, some good, some bad. And I want to kind of give you some insight. First of all, my 2014 Ford Fusion Energy was totaled. It was totaled in a accident where a lady T-boned me, and she basically ran a red light and uh, basically was not only T-boned, but then I actually had the experience of then being forced at about 40 miles an hour into the headquarters of Berkshire Hathaway. So I can show you this information here with these pictures. So the airbags deployed. I had a very lovely experience. I was able to replace the car. Uh, the car that I replaced it with, it was not new this time. I actually replaced it with a used one, and it was a used 2013 Ford Fusion Energy. Um, Same thing, black on black. Really great car. Um, with that car, I have now 80,000 miles, 82,000 roughly, come to the time now where it is time to replace the battery. Not the plug-in battery, but the little 12-volt battery. I searched high and low and found that the only battery that is a true fit, according to the models and whatnot at Walmart and AutoZone and O'Reilly, uh, doesn't really exist. So the only option to get a true 390 cold cranking amp battery like what comes in at factory was to go to the dealer. I called a dealer and they wanted like 160 bucks installed, which, yeah. So I actually went out and I bought a different battery, and I wanted to show you the results. Okay, so here is the original 12-volt battery taken out of the car. What I did is I actually cut open the cells before I turned it in, and actually found that cell 1, cell 2, and cell 4 actually were bone dry. And the actual model number for the original battery is the Motorcraft BXT99R390. It is a rather odd sized battery, and it has that little port there, which is the vent port. This battery was cooked. I actually took it up to O'Reilly, and ran a test on it. Okay, so here is the test from O'Reilly, and we actually tested it on a 390, and it says bad battery. So what do you do, obviously? So I actually went to Walmart and I found a handy little battery, which was rather inexpensive. It only cost me 50 bucks, and it was the Value Power VP 26R. It's a 540 cold cranking amp battery. It does sit about a ½ inch taller, and it sits about a ½ inch wider, but it does end up fitting in the battery tray quite nicely. And you do not get the vent, but from what I've seen, the vent is not really that necessary. One problem, I guess you could say, is because it is a ½ inch taller, the negative terminal fits perfectly on there, but the positive terminal doesn't quite go 100% on there because of just the height of it. So it ends up sitting about a ½ inch taller, of a little bit of a gap. But as far as the car goes, it definitely does the trick. All right, so getting in the car here and just kind of showing you. This one here has 82,273 miles on it as of today. It's July 2nd. The car itself has been doing relatively well for fuel economy, but wanted to kind of give you some insight as far as what happens when that 12-volt battery is dead or dying. Now, obviously, I've since replaced the battery, so you're not going to be able to see this, but a couple things did happen. The first thing that happened was the check engine light did come on, and then the wrench light came on it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in engineering test mode. And for those of you who don't know about the engineering test mode on your Ford Fusion, it's a relatively easy procedure. You actually press and hold the OK button on the left-hand side. Sorry, it's raining out, so I got a little bit of water on it. But you go ahead and you press that button right there while you turn the car on, and you're going to hold it, and you'll see on the screen the ready to drive. And then you see that little ET button up in the ET. It says engineering test mode. And I'm going to go ahead and press OK. And then I'm going to use the up and down buttons to go ahead and scroll through all of the information. So the first thing you get is the analog test gauge. It's basically going to go ahead and test the gauge and make sure everything's working. Then you get the Christmas tree. Then you're going to get some information as far as part numbers, serial numbers, manufacturer date. Now, the man date is not true from what I've seen. And then you're going to get these DTCs. And that's what I wanted to show you about. The DTCs, I had C12100 and C46B86. And those, we actually, at O'Reilly, pulled the codes in the... using the onboard diagnostics port, and from what those ports were is there's another one there too. From what they were saying was problem with the charging system on the hybrid. And for a lot of you, you might think, oh gosh, this is going to be something that's covered under the hybrid warranty, and a lot of Ford dealerships don't give you that free diagnostic if it's something that's not included in the warranty. So what I wanted to tell you is you might want to check your 12-volt battery, and there is on this screen as well a way to see, and I'm just paging down, and it will tell you battery is 14.1 volts right now. Now, with the bad battery on there, it was showing 13.4, I think it was, when the car was on. Now, that is obviously low. For those of you who don't know, when a car is on, you should be above 14 volts on a battery. So I'm going to go ahead and get my multimeter, and we're going to go back over to the back of the car, and as well we're going to go over to that dead battery and kind of show you what's going on there. Okay, so I'm back here, and the car is running now. Still on, but whenever you go to actually replace that 12-volt battery, you're going to take and you're going to pull up on this piece. You're going to have to remove that tray where the styrofoam is, and that'll show you as well that little fan. So now you know what that fan looks like when you hear it. It's just a little fan. Once you have this piece off and the tray removed, you're going to remove this bolt here. There's a little plastic cap there and a plastic cap there on the side. And then you're just going to remove this trim piece. And once you remove that trim piece, you're going to be able to get to your 12-volt battery. And it's just 2 bolts. They're 10mm bolts. Actually, there's 3, or 4, excuse me, but all of the bolts on the battery are 10mm bolts. And you're going to remove the battery itself. It's relatively easy to get out of there with that trim piece off. But the car, just so you know, when the car is running, you should be about 14.5 volts, which is a good battery on for a 12-volt battery. All right, we're back over to the bad battery, and I did add water to it before I replaced it, just to kind of see, and it wasn't pretty. Some of the battery acid actually started to seep out of the side. So I just was like, I know I was getting, no, I'm not even gonna mess with it. So I just bought a new one. But on the old one, keep in mind, this was actually put on a charger, on a slow charge overnight, after adding that water. But let's see what we get here now. I'm sorry, I'm gonna hold this here. Okay, but you see now we're down to 10.63, and that was charged last night, completely charged. When I put it back on the car itself, if I had it on the car, it still shows about 13.9 or 14 when it's charged and running, when the car's on. But it did not really want to do anything, and when you shut the car off, it would do some interesting things. Now, another interesting thing that I found with this Ford Fusion Energi is when you have your charge in and you have it plugged in. Sorry, I've got a level 1 charger here outside, but when you plug it in and you go to start it in the morning, if you get into a bad situation where your battery, that 12-volt battery, is dead, what you can do is use the plug-in to jump the car. And this is actually something that they don't really advertise, but how you do that is you would put the plug-in in, and you'll turn the key to the accessory mode, and you'll have all your lights, and you have your check engine and all of that, and it's not ready to drive. And it would say no key detected. That's one thing I've noticed it's been doing since this 12-volt hasn't cycled back all the way through. But it's almost like it's relearning everything once you put the new battery in. But once you'd have it in that mode, you would then get out of the car, unplug. I'm just going to set it down, and then get back in and turn the key, and you're good to go then. But this is on a new battery, so it's not really that relevant. But just so you guys know, that's what Ford Fusion looks like when you get up in the 80,000 mile range. I personally have driven on the Ford Fusion Energi platform approximately between the car that was totaled and this Ford Fusion. I have personally driven in this vehicle about 150,000 miles. So kind of have some insight there. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me or post a comment, and I can see what I can do to get you some information or insight as far as some of the other little tips and tricks that I've found out about this car, or anything that can help you out. Now this does apply to the Ford Fusions with the shifter still down here. I know they've switched it, but so I don't know about the brand new one. So this would be the 13, 14, and 15 model years that I'm specifically talking about. So, all right, have a good day.